5 feet apart. The film begins with a brief introduction explaining how important human touch is, as it connects us when we are happy, in love, or scared, among other emotions. Furthermore, the main character explains that she never realized the importance of human touch until she couldn't have it. Stella is in her hospital bed with 2 of her friends, sharing some swimsuit photos with laughter as they plan a trip. They are disappointed that she can't join them, but Stella comforts them, suggesting they can Photoshop her into their pictures using fancy apps. They bid Stella goodbye and leave, leaving her feeling a bit lonely. She takes her breathing tubes and puts them back on, taking a deep breath. Take a second to subscribe to support this channel. Stella opens up a drawing and hangs it on her room's wall board, then goes live online. She explains to the viewers that she's back at the hospital for tune-ups related to her condition. Her nurse, Nurse Barbara, comes in, and Stella likes to record her. Nurse Barbara asks her viewers to wait while she sets Stella up and puts her live on hold. Nurse Julie, who has been away, comes in to assist Nurse Barbara in setting up Stella for her medication. Stella notices Nurse Julie's pregnancy. The nurses have grown close to their patients, as the patients have been at the hospital for a long time due to their condition. Nurse Barbara leaves Stella's medication cart for her to administer herself, as she had requested. She says she will monitor Stella's intake and discipline. Stella returns to her live stream, showing her audience the cart and explaining that she will reorganize it due to her hospital OCD. She signs off and continues to work on her to-do list for the day and coding apps as night falls. While taking her evening medication, Barbara informs Stella of the arrival of a new baby and allows her to visit the children's nursery to pass the time. On her way, she peeks into Poe's room, her friend with the same condition, and he is sleeping. She also notices another patient, Will, with the same condition, offering his room to a couple of friends to make out, which disgusts her. Will notices her pass by and peep and takes his bag of oxygen to follow her without her knowledge to the children's nursery. Will attempts to make small talk with Stella, who does not initially respond. He asks her if she will be at the hospital for a while, as he sees her room is filled with a lot of stuff. She continues to look the other way until Stella finally decides to engage in conversation. They both judge each other's decisions and choices a bit rudely, and she dismisses him. Nurse Barbara comes to the watching area and finds Will there, asking him what he is doing there and reminding them to stay 6 feet apart, as they both have the same condition, which could be fatal if they are in close contact. She asks Will to leave, but he already knows her name, even though Stella refuses to tell him through Barbara. Barbara explains to Stella to stay away from Will, as he is under a new medical treatment trial, and the bacteria he carries are fatal to her and to him. She also emphasizes that Stella needs new lungs soon. Will goes back to his room and searches for Stella online, finding her videos where she explains her condition with love and hope. He makes himself comfortable and continues to watch them one by one to get to know her better. On the other end, Stella is in her room, and Barbara comes to bid her goodbye as her shift has ended. The next morning, they are served breakfast in their rooms. As Stella is about to eat, Poe video calls her and notices a glow on her face, asking which boy made her glow. She lies and says he's not cute. They both show each other their breakfast as Poe informs her that he is single now, as he broke up with his boyfriend Michael. Suddenly, he chokes on his food, and Stella alerts the nurses, who rush to check on him. One of the nurses insists to Will on the importance of following through with the doctor's recommendations for his trial treatment to work, while his mother is present. Will is advised to stick to his treatment regimen, and the nurse leaves. Will seems to have given up and doesn't see any value in his life. He goes to the rooftop and sits on the ledge. As Stella is speaking to her friends on a video call about a potential boyfriend, Will, she sees him on the rooftop ledge through the window. She cuts short the conversation and goes to the rooftop to talk him out of it, as he's wasting a chance that many others want. Will tries to joke about the situation by pretending to fall off the ledge, which annoys Stella. She leaves and unknowingly locks Will on the rooftop. Stella is in her room trying to continue building apps, but she can't keep it together. She cancels off her to-do list, but the task of eating dinner and taking her medication stays. She's about to open a bottle of pills, but they end up spilling as she shakes. Stella becomes upset, knocks on Will's door, and asks to see his medication regimen. Will feels they are forcing him to take the medication, which drives Stella crazy. She disappears into a corner, and Will follows her, curious to know how he's driving her crazy. He meets her at the nursery watching Bay Area. She asks him to follow his regimen completely, and he asks her to allow him to draw her in return. Stella later agrees to Will's condition of drawing her. As he returns to his room, he meets Poe for the first time as Poe falls down on a skateboard, and Will stops it from outside. They get to know each other and realize they both know Stella in different ways. Poe explains that he's gay, and Will realizes that Poe is not a competitor. While Will is brushing his teeth, Nurse Barbara brings him his medication card and asks him not to make her regret the request. Poe and Will look out for nurses as Stella helps set up Will's cart. Poe also realizes that Stella is falling in love with Will. She calls Will to ensure that he is taking his medicine as promised, but then she realizes that to be sure he did, they have to take the medication together through video calls. She instructs him on how to do it correctly, and they participate together until night falls. The following day, Stella's mother comes to visit as she is also going through a divorce. They share a meal at the hospital, and later, Stella takes Will to the gym for exercise as part of her routine. They get to know each other more and share their interests. Will also draws her after the workout as they share their bucket lists. Stella returns to her room and watches videos of her sister on social media, while Nurse Julia helps Will with some medications. She comments that she is happy to see hope in him and asks what happens if the trial treatment does not work. He responds by asking her what if it does. Stella receives an envelope from Will with cartoon drawings and calls him to explain them. As they are talking, Will sees a drawing on her wall and asks if she did it. Oblivious to the situation, she asks about other drawings when Stella deflects the conversation and cuts the line. Will is helped to research about Abby, Stella's sister, and they discover that her social media account stopped being updated a year ago, indicating her passing. He goes to ask Stella about it, and she gets upset and storms out of the meditation room. Poe tries to comfort her and defend Will, explaining that he never meant to hurt her. Stella has an infected tube and needs surgery the following morning, and she receives an apology cartoon from Will. Will comes to check up on her and is informed about the surgery, as she missed their treatment together. As she waits on the surgery bed the following morning, Will sneaks in and sings her the song her sister used to sing, as it is the first surgery without her sister around. Barbara is not happy seeing Will come out of the surgery room, as their contact is potentially fatal. The surgery is a success, and after waking up, she finds paper flowers and calls Will, leaving a bunch of messages. She grooms herself and texts Will to meet her, but Poe shows up and tells her that Will is not coming. She goes to Will's room to find out why he's not coming, and he asks her to leave. Stella also gets into a disagreement with Poe over their relationship, but later, Poe sends his apology, and she accepts it. Stella goes online to explain how their condition has deprived them of the ability to love, kiss, and touch, and why they should stay 6 feet apart. She even creates a rod to measure 5 feet to make it easier for her and Will to interact. She dresses up nicely to meet Will for a date, and he does the same. They continue to make the best out of the day by using the rod to stay 5 feet apart. They visit various places and end up at the pool, sharing their experiences and Stella opening up about the death of Abby. They also show each other their scars from surgeries related to their life-threatening condition. She also learns that the following day is Will's birthday. As they look outside the window at the city lights, Barbara realizes that Stella and Will are not in their rooms. She goes to ask Poe, who is fast asleep, and as soon as she leaves, Poe texts Stella, pretending to have fallen asleep in the NICU, where Barbara finds her. The following day, which is Will's birthday, he calls Stella to hang out, but she turns down the offer, saying that she is studying and they can meet later. He explains that his friends would be coming, but they end up canceling on him. He is sleeping when he receives a message from Stella to play hide and seek, followed by a knock at the door. He finds a balloon and follows the mystery letters in balloons as Stella surprises him with his friends and family for his birthday. Barbara finds them and decides to have Will transferred to keep them safe. Poe tragically dies in his room, devastating Stella. As a result, Stella decides to go see the lights and convinces Will to join her. They even touch hands and enjoy their time as it snows. Lungs are found for Stella, and Barbara cannot find her. They text her, but she ignores it. Before they could see the lights, Will is called by her mother that Stella has found lungs. He tries to convince her to go get them, but she refuses and falls off the bridge, breaking the ice. Will tries to rescue her and even tries the most dangerous form of treatment for both of them, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. They are later both rescued, and Will convinces Stella to accept the lungs, which she does. Since Will's treatment is not working, he has to say goodbye to Stella, and their families and nurses help him organize his plan. He creates lights that she never saw and gives her his drawings as gifts, saying goodbye behind a glass window forever. Thank you for watching. Click the video above for more movies.